Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning will begin on a foundation that inspires philanthropy, supports a wide variety of nonprofits and initiatives across the region, and has awarded more than $717 million in grants since being established in 1915. I'm talking about the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. And here to tell us about the region's largest community conversation, On The Table MKE, which is presented by the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, is Marcus White, who's Vice President of Civic Engagement for the organization, and Katina Fuller-Scott, who is the Senior Director of Strategy, Measurement, and Analysis with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee. Glad to have you both here.
Thank you.
How are you?
Wonderful. Great.
Thank you for being here. Marcus, this time last year, you were here to really talk about the introduction of On The Table MKE, and for those who are not familiar, fill us in.
Yeah, last year we had no idea what it was going to look like, right? And we saw how exciting it was. It is an opportunity for people to get together, talk about what they love about where they live, maybe talk about what they wish was different, and we think most importantly, share ideas, build new relationships to take action together. So that's what's at the heart of it. And it really comes out of our belief that all positive change starts with a conversation. And here we are in a time where we just don't get together like maybe we did generations ago. And that's why it's called On The Table. We hope it is around a table. We think there's something special, something a little intangible about sharing a meal together and having conversation. So it's an opportunity over breakfast, lunch, coffee, dinner, dessert, whatever a host might like, to bring some people together for conversation and finding ways to work towards improving our entire region.
Yeah, and these are new ways to build relationships and get people who may not have a whole lot in common together. So you don't necessarily have to put together your own gathering. You can join a gathering. You have many that are planned across the region. So we'll talk more about that. But the inaugural year was extremely successful. Katrina, you participated last year. If you would tell us about your experience.
Yes. So I had the esteemed pleasure to attend the one at City Hall, and I was met with a bunch of diverse individuals who were extremely passionate about the city of Milwaukee. We didn't come in the form of our profession. It was just we were as committed citizens who wanted to know what was going on in the city of Milwaukee, and to have this kind of platform to discuss our frustrations, our hopes, our dreams, and aspirations for the city of Milwaukee was extremely exciting. Yeah. So, I mean, we've had conversations there, and then even after our experience at City Hall, we've been in contact, several of us have been in contact with each other to continue our conversations. So I'm just excited to be a part of the experience.
And I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah,
so,
I've been geek since last year, so just excuse me.
So Katina, tell us a little bit about what you guys discussed last year that has you so excited about this year.
Well, we discussed anywhere from racial divide, generation divide, redevelopment, healthcare, disparities, violence, whatever it was that you were passionate about. Education, of course. Those were maybe the top two, race and then education. And don't we need to talk about that? For me, it was wanting to make sure that youth voice was represented at the table, and then to see what's happening in the 9th District, like how are people thinking about the 9th District from where I'm from. Shout out to Shantia Lewis, my alderwoman.
So this is definitely the place to shout her out.
Shout her out. Because we're doing some exciting things over there, and I just wanted to bring that to the table.
Yeah, and it's interesting that she said like one of the main things they talked about, or a couple of the main things, would be race and education. But you guys really went beyond to figure out what everybody that got together was talking about, and you really broke it all down, and it gave you an idea of last year's success. So let's talk about the Voices from the Table community report that really did give you an idea of what was talked about and what was accomplished.
Yeah, I should mention that that report, the Voices from the Community report, is available at onthetablemke.org, and people can see what happened in 2017. I think Katina's experience reflects what a lot of tables experienced. There were over 200 locations. So some were an individual table and some were like City Hall, a big event. Over 200 locations, 5,400 people from 73 zip codes, all on one day having conversation about our community.
Absolutely.
And indeed, matters of race and education were the two most significant individual issues that arose. Over 80% of tables reported that issues of race or racial equity came up at their table. And that is remarkable in a region that can be as separated and segregated as ours, yet at over 80% of tables, unprompted, the topic comes up.
Yeah, and your research also shows that 9 out of 10 people met someone new. So it really is about building relationships, and so many different people come from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different careers, whatever the case, and they're all really sharing their experiences to maybe help somebody else understand that maybe when they watch the news, they only have this, you know, filtered look into how things are on one side of town versus another. But this is an opportunity to really tear down all of those thoughts and barriers and really understand each other as people.
That's it, exactly, right? We all spend so much time in front of screens, whether it's a large screen or a small screen, right? And we get this information that someone else has filtered for us. Katina and I were recently at something where it was pointed out that one of the most common themes is that people just want to be heard.
Absolutely.
And so On the Table is an opportunity to be heard. It's also an opportunity to listen, to find some things in common and to build those relationships. Because as I mentioned, we believe every good thing starts with a conversation, but it's then sustained by the relationships that are built along the way. And so we see this as a start for that.
Well, this year's event is coming up on Tuesday, October 9th. So I say that to say anyone watching, if this has sparked your interest in having a group come together, whoever they may be, sorority, fraternity, church, friends, neighbors, whatever the case, this is a chance to really get on board and talk about things that are of importance to you as well. So I guess the next question would be, how in fact do they jump on board and take part?
The easiest way is to go to onthetable.mke.org. Everything is there. You can register there. There's a new facilitators kit that has some pointers about how to conduct conversations, even how to conduct difficult conversations. It has information about funding that will be available to tables after October the 9th to help them turn their ideas into action. There's Spanish language materials. There is a lesson plan for teachers to use in their classroom.
Wow.
All sorts of resources available at onthetable.mke.org. I'm trying to get them to pay me for every time I say the website.
Oh, he's a mess, Marcus. You are a mess. So the thing is you talked about all of these things that are available. So it sounds to me that you guys really have put time and effort over the course of the last year in preparing for this new run.
We have, and we hope that we've responded to a lot of the feedback we got last year. It was a success. It was larger than we were anticipating. It really spoke to kind of the hunger out there for conversation. But we did get some feedback, and we've listened to that, and there's a lot of new things available. There's even on that website, there are now 9 or 10 testimonial videos from people who participated, like Judge Derek Mosley, Marquette President Mike Lovell. All of these community leaders talking about their own experience. That's new, as well as some of the resources.
I love it. Katina, I mentioned you work with the Boys and Girls Club, but you also are the founder of Be What Matters, LLC, an organization that focuses on helping youth understand their value and power in the community. So you talked about being a part of last year's On the Table MKE. You're planning your own this year.
Yes.
So I'm guessing it's going to be talking about kids and empowerment and things of that nature. Fill us in on what you got planned.
I am very excited about our upcoming On the Table Milwaukee conversation. It's called Roundtable Intergenerational Mealtime Conversations. And we're really focusing not just on understanding and prioritizing youth voice, but how do we appreciate and value generational voices. And I think the greatest work that's going to happen there is for everyone to be able to share their story. And as Marcus mentioned, a lot of times we don't have the opportunity to just share who we are and what our values and what really unites us more than what divides us. So I'm excited to have that experience and to be able to provide that platform.
Good stuff. And 97% of last year's participants said that they would participate
Isn't
again.
that great?
But we said this last year. I just knew just from hearing you talk about it and everything that it entailed, it's going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger. And really, that's all you can ask for. So when we talk about the region, there are what, 4 different counties that are involved?
Yeah, you know, we're targeting the 4-county area. That's the region we serve. And we already know of several things that are happening in all the counties. So it has had this great ripple effect. It did last year, but even more so. We have more schools registered. We have schools from counties outside Milwaukee County that have registered already. We know there's going to be, again, a large event at the Museum of Wisconsin Art in West Bend. So lots of good stuff happening.
That's awesome. And you talked about the museums and schools, but a lot of nonprofits, Fortune 500 companies, universities, police and fire personnel getting in on things as well with elected officials. There's just somebody from every walk of life, like I said, that are taking part in these conversations. And so it's helpful that if people are talking about education, if you've got some educators at the table to better help someone understand what they go through on a daily basis in trying to educate our children or whatever the case may be, it really is one of those things you walk away enlightened and like Katina, waiting to do it again.
Well, right, that's our hope, right? And,
yes.
And we're encouraging people who do want to talk about education to try as best they can to have students at the table.
Absolutely.
And that comes out of a spirit that's very similar to the heart of On the Table, something we refer to as culturally responsive practice, which to me boils down to the old adage, nothing about us without us. And if we're going to talk about education, let's try as best we can. It can be hard to get students just given their busy days, and this is on a Tuesday, but we already have a lot of schools responding, and we're encouraging adults also to have students at the table.
All right. So how does the Greater Milwaukee Foundation go about inspiring action from these conversations that take place?
Well, in several ways, but I think the newest, most exciting way for this year is these ideas to action funding opportunities.
Okay.
So there is information in the facilitators kit about how one will be able to apply for that, but our hope is to be able to get support to tables. We're expecting that it will range anywhere from perhaps $500 to $2,500 to support clear next steps that tables settle on. So by having that available, we hope that on October 9th, when those tables are having their conversations, they will be thinking about a potential next step, an action step they can take together, and then there will be an opportunity to apply for funding to support that.
And when we look at our region, especially in Milwaukee County, in the areas such as income, incarceration, and entrepreneurship, we face significant disparities. So having this conversation, as opposed to always saying the statistics show us this, and we're the most this, or the most that, or have the least, or whatever the case, really this puts plans into motion in helping see a difference. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think Greater Milwaukee Foundation has done a wonderful job in supporting the efforts. From even the orientation that we had yesterday, it's just a phenomenal way of making sure that we feel supported in our efforts. And I think it's important to say that this is not just about representing an organization, but it's something that any individual can do.
That's right.
And be supported. And because I work for Boys and Girls Clubs, I didn't necessarily go to this event in that perspective. I wanted to go as a concerned citizen. So if anything comes from this is the understanding that you can be at the table as a concerned citizen.
Yes.
That's the important piece for me to really represent here.
Everybody wants a seat at the table.
Well,
right?
and we certainly hope everybody feels like they can. And at the public events, we will soon be announcing a large breakfast event that will be open to the public. City Hall is going to happen again in the evening with Milwaukee as our partner. So there are places that people can plug in. And for us, you know, you mentioned the disparities and a lot of the data. And a lot of us, you know, we see this data on a regular basis. And one thing we really believe, given the diversity of our region, this region's more diverse than a lot of people realize.
Absolutely.
And when you look at our 4-county region and you look at younger people under age 25, 45% people of color in this region. Communities of color are going to drive the future of this region. And that's why we were pleased to see so many tables talking about race and racial equity, because we know that if we don't advance racial equity and inclusion in this region, we will not be as competitive as we can be. We have a tremendous advantage here, given the region's diversity. We got to make sure that we take advantage of that advantage so that everybody can live the fullest life possible.
Absolutely. To live their best life, right? And I just want to remind everybody, when they do come together at the table for the On the Table MKE on Tuesday, October 9th, you are encouraged to hashtag On the Table MKE.
On the Table MKE.
So you really can get a feel for everything that's happening around the region and know that you are not the only ones at the table.
Absolutely.
It's happening simultaneously, and really it's all good stuff at the end of the day.
And use that hashtag anywhere. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There's a new Facebook group called On the Table MKE, and anybody's able to join that group.
Good stuff. Well, thank you both for coming by.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be at the table this year. You
Good.
better believe
All right.
it.
Good.
It's a pleasure talking to both of you. Marcus White is the Vice President of Civic Engagement for the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, and Katina Fuller-Scott, she's the Senior Director of Strategy, Measurement, and Analysis with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, as well as the founder of Be What Matters, LLC. For more details on the Greater Milwaukee Foundation's second annual On the Table MKE, it's happening Tuesday, October 9th. Visit their website, onthetablemke.org. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll switch gears and get an update on the Corey Adams Searchlight Act. We'll talk with Carmen Adams about the Green Alert and a whole lot more. We'll do that right after this.